Hello, guys and girls. Welcome to the Play to the Whistle podcast. Don't laugh at me, man. I've
Yeah,
been,
that's where you said it, man.
I'm
Let's
being.
start again. Make sure you
Okay,
included that bit.
okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Play to the Whistle podcast. I'm myself, Jesse, and I'm joined with T.Dot today. How you doing?
I'm good, man. What you saying? You good?
Yeah, all good, man. I think this is the time in the year that you either look forward to or you're dreading, depending on
Who
what
you
team you
supporting?
support. Um, But yeah, overall, just happy football's back now. Obviously, we enjoyed the Euros, but it's been like a 4 or 5 week break since then. So obviously, we had the football league start last week, and now it's the big boys are back now. So
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
looking forward to it,
Looking
man.
looking forward to that, man. Looking forward to it as well. Obviously, got a shout out Chelsea, Super Cup.
Yeah, man. Super Cup
Man
dons.
tried
Yeah.
to dub. Man tried to dub it down. So it
Do you
was
know what? No, man. Man just sending in Pinterest boards and that in the chat. You know what I mean? And I'm just, I haven't got no time for this. But listen, I'm just saying it on the podcast as well. When United have their day again, I think everyone needs to mute me. But Um, yeah, moving on. Yeah, Chelsea obviously secured that. It was a good game. Good penalty shootout. Tuchel made the
Mm,
decision to, swap the keepers, and obviously it worked. What's your thoughts
good
on the? We
shout,
might as
man.
well touch. Might as well touch on that actually. What was your thoughts on the game before we start
Yeah,
the
man. It
preview?
was frustrating. It was a frustrating game because I thought we could have killed the game in some ways before extra time. And I think they hit. I think I can't remember if it was Moreno, but I think he hit the crossbar as well. So
Mm.
we were lucky to win it. I think we deserved to win it, but I think there was chances where we could have just put the game to bed, and we didn't do that. And those kind of things, hopefully, when if and when the Lukaku deal goes through now, those kind of things will help eradicate things like that happening. Because when you got games like that, you got to put them to bed and not allow like Villarreal or whoever to come back into the game and potentially almost win the game. Do you know what I mean? Win the cup. So, but it was good, man. Kepa came on. Tuchel got that right. That was a fine margin. If Kepa had not saved his penalties, then he would have been getting slandered this morning. But I think he done well. For Aspilicueta coming on, done well. I was impressed with Trevor Chalobah. I thought he's someone now that hopefully doesn't go on loan and actually stays with the club and can get some game time, because I think he's proven that through preseason that he can do that. But overall, I thought we done well. Glorified, sort of friendly, but yeah, man, I was happy with that, man. Another cup to put into the trophy cabinet as well.
No, definitely, man, and some. Yeah, Trevor Chalobah did well. A lot of guys got minutes. That's the most important thing at this time of the season as well, because kind of won a game. Sometimes people might look at it as a hindrance. I like these kind of games just before the
Mm,
season's going to start because gives you a chance to look at people, extra fitness. So it's all good, man.
yeah, man.
But yeah, and yeah, moving on to the preview, really. What's your thoughts? Not just from a Chelsea point of view, but what's your thoughts on like us getting the football back now, man?
Yeah, like I think it's going to be a good season. I think clubs that needed to improve in some aspects have done that. Some still need to do a bit of business, which for me personally, I'd say, like I spoke on the last episode, maybe Liverpool need to look at, especially if they lose Shaqiri, which I think they may do, to Leon. I think they want 12 million, but Leon want to pay 5 or something like that. But if they lose him, then they really do need to think about just bolstering up that midfield. I think for me personally, if I had to look at the clubs that I can see potentially pushing or getting that top 4 places, obviously United are in there. I think Jadon Sancho is probably the best bit of business that has been probably done across all of the clubs. To be fair, when you look back at, okay, maybe look at like a Damari Gray for 1.2, that's brilliant business. But on the higher level of fees that have been paid out, I think Sancho has probably been one of the best ones. Obviously, if United get Varane as well, I think that's going to be brilliant. Him and Maguire, um, kind of leaves that black hole with Fred and McTominay, which is still the issue that I think United fans want that clearing up quicker than anything. But I can see United doing really well this season. I don't know. I don't know what you think about United. What's your thoughts?
Um, I'm not getting too like ahead of myself, really. Um, I'm trying to be realistic as well. Not even in a pessimistic way, but I've always said, isn't it? Like even when I've done the in depth with Kieran, that I feel as though there were the 3 positions that needed to be sorted. Someone on the right, or someone that can play on the right, or another forward, a centre mid, particularly defensive, and a centre back. And I thought that was the bare minimum for United to actually kick on. And I still think without the centre mid, I still think that will leave United short of maybe winning the league and Champions League and things like that. It will leave them short of those trophies. But I think that they can get top four and a cup
Mm.
competition, and that for me would be. I know that sounds a bit defeatist, but I think that's improvement on last season, because I know we finished second, but I don't see that as more of a second. I saw that more as a top four finish because of how far
Mm.
behind we was, and just the manner of like how we was as a second place team. It's not like when Liverpool was second a few years ago, neck and neck with City, and I think it was just goal difference was the difference, or
Yeah,
was it a
yeah, it was
point,
that. I
or it's
think 1 point.
1 point.
Yeah, yeah.
That's different. That's a real title race. They went to the last day of the season. They pushed them to the absolute limit, and they still won the Champions League. Whereas I think we've come second, and we kind of just, everyone behind us. It's like those marathon races. Sometimes someone's way ahead.
Mm.
He's won it,
Yeah,
and that person's second by a comfortable distance. There's no one
yeah. It's
behind
easy,
them.
easy light work, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not a real. It's not like second at the line or anything like that. So,
Mm.
but so I would see, him winning a trophy and top four finishes as an improvement. But I can't. I don't see more than that at the moment.
Mm. But I think, I
I'd like
think
to.
from
I'd like to be wrong. Don't let me. I'll put that out there. I want to be wrong because I'm tired of this. But if I'm being realistic, then that's what I think will happen with United.
I think that would be progress though. I think if you can get a trophy, a cup, because I kind of get what you mean. Because obviously, finishing second was brilliant, but then I think it's the manner in which you kind of did it, and the other teams as well around the top four at that time as well. Like I think Liverpool were lucky to get into the top four, so was Chelsea as well. So I think I get what you're saying, but I think getting the Varane deal, I think that's going to be a big thing. I think that'll be a big partnership there with him and Maguire. Um, and yeah, I think obviously Sancho, we know what he can. Well, we've watched him at Dortmund, the Bundesliga, so we know what he can do as well. But yeah, I think cup, get a cup, top four finish, Champions League football. Do you know what I mean? But you never know,
Yeah,
man.
definitely.
Like
I'm
who
don't,
would have said that? Like Chelsea would have won the Champions League last season. So I think
no.
anything can happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm not ruling anything out from happening, and I hope I'm wrong. That's what I was saying. Like, and I do want us to win a trophy. And obviously, Varane makes a massive difference at centre back. It's a complete upgrade on Lindelof.
Mm.
And he's got pace. He can read the game,
Experience. Mm.
experience, and he's a winner. He's won
Mm.
everything pretty much there is to win in European football. So he's a massive addition. And Sancho is what we've also needed in the front line as well, with that.
Mm.
Being able to play the 1-2s, not just beating the man. He can actually link up and play with other people, especially when
Mm.
teams are defended low. But other teams around us have also improved. So that's where, that's you got to take that into account as well.
Mm. What's your thoughts on? Because as far as I'm aware, Jesse Lingard still hasn't got any deal sorted, or a club hasn't come in and met the fee that wants to be had by United. What do you think, he should stay and fight for a place at United, or is it the case that Ollie just doesn't want to sell him, but technically he's probably not going to play him as well? Is that what the thought is from United perspective?
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to be positive. Yeah, so I'm trying to word this.
Just let
I'm
it
not
out,
trying
man.
to. I'm trying to word it properly. No, but like I feel like Ollie's a hoarder.
Mm,
So I think he just likes to have players there for the sake of having them, knowing that they're there, rather
option.
than as a yeah. But there's managers that will have options. Like Pep has options, but he uses all of them.
Yeah,
He
and
rotates
Tuchel to
well,
an extent. Mm,
and Tuchel does as well. Um, Klopp will rotate the midfield free,
mm,
but that's where it kind of stopped. And maybe Jota with the rest of the front
and
three.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But Ollie pretty much stuck to the same team for most of the season, injuries
Mm,
permitting, unless it was like a really weak opposition in the cup, then he would rotate. But you look at the minutes that Van der Beek got, and you look at some of the minutes that some of the other players actually got overall, it weren't a lot.
mm,
And so for Lingard to come back into this situation where we've not sold Van der Beek, we've added a Sancho, we still got the same front line pretty much. And I know Rashford's injured till October. I personally, I would use Lingard, but I'm not the manager. And
mm.
I don't see him getting the minutes under Ollie because Ollie's not going to drop Fernandes. He's not going to drop Greenwood now that Rashford's injured. We just paid 73 million for Sancho. I can't see
Gotta play
where.
him. Mm,
Yeah, I can't see if where Ollie's going to give Lingard minutes. We're not even in the Europa League where we're playing CFR Cluj or
mm.
a
And
team
then
like
five
that.
five
No,
o'clock kickoff said it.
yeah, no disrespect to that team, but yeah, at 5:30, where you can completely change 11 and still win.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We're in the Champions League, so he's not going to rotate that much.
Mm,
So if I was Lingard personally, I think he should just make the permanent move to West Ham or maybe a Leicester, Arsenal. And that's no disrespect to him because I would use him,
mm.
but I don't see him
If he
getting the
wants game
minutes.
time, and if he wants the
Yeah,
game time, and he wants to try and break into the World Cup squad as well,
yeah,
things like that, he needs to be realistic and take the matters into his own hands, I suppose.
yeah.
But yeah, I agree with
Because
you.
it would,
I think he should go.
yeah, man. If you had the season that he had, that second half of the season, it basically got him back into the England squad, but not on the, obviously not in the
Yeah,
European,
the
not the
provisional
Euro
one, and
squad.
yeah,
But it done enough to get you in a provisional.
mm,
Then you'd be mad to hinder yourself by taking yourself back out that picture by just sitting on the bench at United. But
mm.
it's up to him, and I don't know the conversations you've had with Ollie. Ollie says stuff in the media, then he does the complete opposite. You know, he said Van der Beek's in his plans didn't really use him.
Sat on
So
the bench all season. Mm,
all season, given the odd 4 minutes there, the odd 10 minutes there, and but it's up to him. It's up to him.
mm.
But I would move if I was him.
Another interesting team, obviously Champions City, losing Aguero, bringing in Jack Grealish, potentially getting Harry Kane as well. Are they the front runners for the league?
Yeah, they're always the front runners for the league, in all honesty, because of
Mm,
the business that they do every summer and the manager they've got and the squad that they've put together. And in this current climate where certain players are linked with a move away, I don't see a lot of clubs being able to afford the players that want to leave anyway.
mm.
If they Laporte, Sterling, these guys, they spent 50 million on Sterling, they're going to want to make a profit. I don't see who can afford him. Um, Laporte's the same. They're going to want to make a
Bernardo
profit on him.
Silva.
Bernardo Silva.
Mm,
So with these players that want to leave, they're probably going to stay.
mm.
And adding Grealish into that makes them formidable. Um,
Yeah,
People like Nathan Ake have got another season of coaching under their belts with Pep, so he might trust him more this season. So you might see more of him. They blooded some youngsters in that game against Leicester as well.
yeah, they
So you
did.
might
They did.
so
Mm,
you might see some of them too. So
mm,
yeah, man, the way they're set up, they'd have to be obviously one of the favourites for the league, 100%.
mm. It's like you said on the last episode as well. Like when we was talking about PSG being able to just kind of do what they want, and City kind of fall into that bracket as well, because obviously
100%.
wages ain't nothing to them. Fees really, if they spend 100 mil on Grealish and then 150, 60 on Kane, that's not enough 300 mil on top of like sign on fees and wages and bonuses, all that kind of stuff. That'd be like 300 mil on just two players. But then they've still got the whole squad to think about in terms of their wages as well. So they're definitely for me the front runners. If I'm going to be a little bit biased, then I'd have to put Chelsea in there as well, because I think off the back of how we played under Tuchel for 6 months, giving Tuchel the whole season, or well 5 6 months, um, how he done in that short space of time, give him that season and see how he does. It might not work. He might have the season. It might not go well, but I think if we get off to a good start, because obviously we're going to lose Mendy as well for the African Cup of Nations in January.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Senegal.
So we'll lose him.
Oh, okay, okay.
So it'll be Kepa that will be, or Bentonelli, who we got from Fulham on free. So one of them two will chip in for a month or something like that. But I just think if we get off to a good start, then I think that, because that Christmas period is tough for every club. Do you know what I mean? So
Yep.
it just means we got to have a really good start. Obviously, we've got Palace on Saturday. I think we've got Arsenal. I think we play Liverpool after that as well. So we've got some big games coming up already. Do you know what I mean? 3 games in, but
Mm.
yeah, I've got to put us in there, man. And yeah, it's gonna be. It's for me, like I said before. I think it's gonna be United, Liverpool, Chelsea for the league. I think those are the three that will be pushing for the league. But then I do look at like a Leicester. I still think they'll be thereabouts as well, pushing
Mm.
for the top four. What do you reckon?
Well, no. Firstly, on Chelsea, I agree. To be honest, I think the window you've had, if you get Lukaku, if you get Kunde, and you use some of the youngsters as well, on top of the squad that you already had, your squad. I've always said this on the podcast, isn't it? It's like
Mm,
it's the best apart from City squad. It's the best squad in the league. There's a
mm,
lot of options in midfield. There's a lot of options in every position, pretty much except number 9. There's there's probably two for every position. You know, even the fact yesterday it was Ziyech and Havertz that started behind Werner, but then
mm,
Mount was on the bench. Pulisic.
it's
There's
true, man.
loads of options. Then there's Kante in midfield, Kovacic, Jorginho.
Mm.
Like, his
Yeah, it's
squad
true,
is
man.
his squad has always been packed. So adding a Lukaku into that and a Kunde, it does put you alongside City for the like being favourites for the title. And you can't ever discount Liverpool either. Liverpool, we know
Mm,
Liverpool without injuries are going to be there or thereabouts. And if they add, if they even got a few weeks left in the window, if they add another midfielder, if they add another forward to what they've got, if they replace Shaqiri and bring someone in, then that you put them in that category as well. Especially someone that he trusts, because I don't feel like he trusted Shaqiri that much, especially last
mm,
season, because when he comes in, he slowed. Not, I don't know if he done it on purpose or the injuries have just changed the way he plays and things like that. But he kind of slowed the pace down and the way they play, and he wasn't as like aggressive with his runs and the press and things like that. So if they bring in another attacker like they did Jota last season, then I think that Marnie plays well, then they'll be in the conversation as well. Then it'll
mm,
probably be a probably a three-way title race, and then add United into that equation, pushing behind as well. That's what I think the top four
mm.
will be.
Yeah, yeah. So you don't think Leicester will climb into there?
Um, I think if Leicester hit the ground running, they still can have a good season. They'll be there or thereabouts like they have been the
Mm,
last few years. But it's like what I said that when about them before. I don't see them as bottlers, man. I just see there's just levels in it, and
mm,
they can't have a window. They can't go and get a Varane and a Sancho. They can't get a Lukaku for 100 million, and they can't get a Grealish, and they can't do that level of business. They can go and
mm,
get Vestergaard, which I'm not criticizing. That's a good move, but their hope of top four is also based on one of the top four teams not doing well.
mm. True,
So
man.
I see them probably fifth or sixth again, depending on what happens with Spurs. I think that would make up the and Everton. They're fighting for fifth and sixth
The
in my
Europa
eyes.
spaces.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
Mm.
To be honest,
It'd be interesting to see how, because they brought Dakar, didn't they? From
good signing,
yeah, very good sign. Some, I think Samore as well.
and Samori, good signing.
Yeah, so they, and I
Very
think
good signings.
Ryan Bertrand's back there as well. So they've brought in
Yeah.
some good players. Obviously
Oh yeah.
losing Wesley Fofana, that's going to be a big loss. But like you said, Vestergaard, I think even just looking at it now, yeah, like it looks like it's going to happen. So that's a good signing, I think. And I tell you what, though, that kind of spells a bit of trouble for Southampton, in my eyes, anyway, because
Yeah, they've been.
they've lost Danny Ings, which is a big loss for them.
Yeah,
They lose
I
a
know
good
they.
centre back.
I know they're trying to replace him with Armstrong from Blackburn. He scored a lot in the Championship, but as we've seen in recent seasons, sometimes that doesn't transcend into Premier League goals. It does sometimes with
Mm,
Ollie Watkins and with some of the other players, but we don't know if it's going to transcend into Premier League goals. Hopefully, it does for them, but it's a big risk because
mm,
Ings is bringing guaranteed goals when he's fit, and I know Che Adams chipped him with a few more last season than he did the previous year, but yeah, they're in trouble, especially losing Vestergaard as well. Don't know who they're going to get to replace him. They could be in
it's
trouble.
true, man.
Could hold another 9-0 somewhere.
Wouldn't that make it 3 seasons in a row as well?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
well,
it's dangerous for them, man. But yeah, you touch on Everton because I think they've had a very good transfer window. Even though I think they got Begovic, obviously free transfer, and Andros Townsend was free. I think it was 1.2, I think, or 1.4 for Damari Gray.
hmm
Brilliant bit of business from Rafa, in my opinion. I think that's
yeah.
a good bit of business.
He's just brought in experience and Premier League players. that's really important if you're gonna have a window of like inactivity, as some people might look at from the outside, then it's better you bring in experience,
Mm,
and that's what he's done. And he's brought he's worked with Townsend before. Begovic is a Premier League goalkeeper. You know, Damari Gray's got experience in the Premier League as well. And look, Rafa's a top level coach.
mm,
So there's a lot, and look, there's a lot to work with at Everton already. It's not like we're not talking about one of these squads that they're depleted of a lot of options. They've got a lot of options in a lot of
mm.
positions. They
Yeah,
just need the right guidance and coaching to push on. And when you look at their squad and the players that they've got a lot of Rafa Benitez type players. He loves a big target man to play into. Calvert Lewin's already there. Richarlison can play on both wings, sometimes filling up front if Calvert Lewin's not there. There's a plethora of players that can play in the number 10 because he likes a
mm,
4-2-3-1, doesn't he? And they've got good centre mid options as well. And he's always someone that will use the youth system as well. He's always looked to that. He's always pushed players on and brought them into the team. And he's someone that we've seen from the clubs he's been at that if you give him what he wants, he can actually get, you know,
you
a
can
healthy
achieve
amount of
stuff.
success.
Mm,
Yeah, 100%. And
mm.
if the people on the board listen to him transfer wise and they get what he wants, then which pretty much I think he has got what he wanted so far, then I think they'll do well. He will improve Ben Godfrey, Yerry Mina. He works really closely with defenders, so
Mm.
they will improve under him.
Yeah.
So I think they're alongside Leicester and Spurs. I think they're a team to watch out for. If one of them top four teams slips up, I think they could get into Europe.
I'd have to agree because I think they started the season really well, which I think they tend to do quite often anyway. And then they were very unlucky to drop out at the end of the back end of last season. But um, one team we haven't spoken about yet, and we have to Arsenal.
No,
I don't
man,
even know. I don't even know why I'm laughing.
I know why you're laughing, but I'm trying to. You know what it is as well because I get pulled up about speak the way I talk about them. So I'm trying to be more professional when I talk about them this season. Um, no, I don't put them in that conversation. They should be, and they probably will be there or thereabouts around seventh, pushing for Europa League spots. But like I said the last time, I think we spoke about them, and they still need a lot of players, and for the amount that they need, I still think they're too far away from the rest of these teams
Mm,
to definitely not to get top four. Top five can happen because those teams switch off and they're in different competitions with more games. So maybe they can get into the Europa League places. If I'm being honest, if certain players hit the ground running, if Aubameyang hits the ground running, um, if they get a Tammy Abraham, I think that's a good signing for them. Then they need someone down the middle. If they can get these kind of signings over the line, then they could have a better season than last season. I think Ben White's a good signing. Look, money's the money. Is he worth 50 million? No, but that's just the market.
it's just the way it is now, isn't it?
It's just the way it is. You have to overpay, but he's a good signing. Um, the Ramsdale one is a bit like if it happens, I think there's
I think it's off now. I'm sure I read this morning it's
yeah, there's a
off.
breakdown. There's a breakdown in the fee, which rightly so because the the prices I'm hearing are not right. If I'm being honest, but look, if I don't know if what the reasoning behind the Ramsdale signing is, whether it's a number one or if he's going to be number two. If he's going to be number two, there's loads of good options still out there.
Mm.
But yeah, they still need a right back. They probably still need like a number eight in midfield, or an eight or a number 10, someone creative. They probably still need, like I said, yeah, like and a striker. If they don't get Abraham, they still need to be in the market for someone. So I just still think they need too much, man.
Mm.
To be quite honest with
Mm.
you.
It's going to be risky for them because I feel like they're almost in that position where like at the moment we don't class them as a top four. We're not technically classing them as a top six club anymore. They're kind of just that mid-table team. To be fair, they're like a Everton or and this is no disrespect to the other clubs I'm naming, but like a Everton or a Burnley or someone that can kind of just you know what I mean, or
Mm,
that just kind of
yeah,
mixes it up and they're just there. They hit 40 points and that's it. They're all right. They're safe, and then Do you know what I mean? No, no, I don't. I don't even try. I'm not even trying to be disrespectful, but you know what I
No,
mean. Like
I
they're
think
they're
I
they're in
think
that category to kind of
yeah,
they're on that
they have.
slope of decline, I suppose.
Yeah, 100%. They've been on decline for the last few years, and but look, they are still, historically a top six club. It is sliding every season, but they're still pretty much in and around that. I think they only finished eighth, and they was 3 or 4 points off finishing top six last season. But they, you know, they need a better start to the season. They just need a better season than last year. Or
Mm,
I just see it being carnage for them if they don't get hit the ground running. It's not looking good for them. I think the only benefit for them is that they're playing once a week now, because obviously they're
mm,
not in Europe. So that would be a benefit, and you don't need as big of a squad because you're only playing in one competition pretty much.
mm.
Well, I know obviously they're in the second round of the Carabao against
You had to
West.
get that in there, innit?
No, no, it's the facts, isn't it? They're in the second round, did it? You know what I mean? With the other
I
teams
hear
that don't
you.
qualify for Europe. So it's just the facts. It's just the facts. So they don't need as much players. They don't need as many as
Mm,
us or as much as Chelsea or anyone like that. But I still think for them to have a really good season, I still feel as though they need a right back, they need a striker, and they've done good business so far. Tavares, Ben White, the guy in midfield, he looks like a
mm,
good player. But I think they still need a right back and they still need a striker for the starting
mm.
lineup.
I think the striker option, that the striker um, thing needs to be sorted because, and to be fair, I don't think Tammy's even going to go there. I think he'll end up going to Roma. I think that deal probably makes more. I think that even their representatives are over today to try and get that done. So if they lose out on the Tammy deal, and Tammy's perfect for Arsenal. That's the weird thing. Like Tammy would hit goals
I think he's perfect
constantly.
for.
For yeah, go on.
Sorry to cut you. I think he's personally. I think he'd be good for a lot of teams.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
that's what I mean. But because he's
because
played in the Prem and he's done it in the
yeah.
Prem, you know what you're getting for 40
No, but
million.
that's yeah. I don't. He's not a player I turn
Mm,
my nose up at because he scores goals. And I think sometimes we look at people too, like we look at players aesthetically and if they fit a system and a style of play. But in reality, how many teams are really playing with a style of play? Like if you sit down and watch, there's not a lot of teams that actually have a philosophy really
mm,
or a
mm,
style of play. Everyone thinks that they do, but sometimes a lot of people are just talking about things historically. Like if they
mm.
sit down and watch Arsenal or another team right now, they'll say, "Oh, they're playing good football," but they're not. But they're just thinking of it historically.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I think, look, even if he was at United or somewhere else, or like another top team, he'll score goals. Maybe he doesn't play every week, but he scores goals. So
Mm.
you always take a punt at that.
Yeah,
And
and I think for
he's
40 mil, I
massive.
think is a brilliant bargain for 40 mil for me anyway. I think that's brilliant bit of business.
Yeah, and look, I think this is where people got to apply a bit of realism and common sense because I know some Arsenal fans maybe don't want him, but what other striker are you going to get for 40 million? Like, who are you going to get, honestly, realistically, that can improve the front line or that's going
Mm.
to bring a certain amount of goals? Who can you bring in for 40 million? Because
Not a
you
lot.
do the business, unless you do what Villa did last season and you pinch a Ollie Watkins for 25 million, or was he was even 30, wasn't he? Was he
Yeah, I
25?
think he was 30. Well, who
Yeah,
Watkins?
yeah.
Yeah, I think he was 30.
Yeah, well, across Europe, maybe at Isaac, but I don't know what his minimum fee release clause. I'm guessing that's 50, 60 million.
That'll be more than
Um,
40.
yeah, so
Mm,
Isaac would be obviously a good signing for a lot of teams, but there's not a lot of strikers going around and not for
mm.
40 million. So, you know, I think he's a good signing, man, and I think he'll score goals there.
I wanted to talk about Brentford because obviously I watched them a lot in the Championship. They've got obviously some brilliant players. I like the manager there. I like the project that they've got there. I think they've got a really good project, and if they have a good season, I feel like Brentford potentially could become a team that sustains Premiership status for a long time if they get this right. This opportunity that they've got now. But how do you see them doing this season?
Um, it's going to be tough for them. Obviously, it's their first season in the Prem. They're somewhat of an unknown entity to a lot of teams if they've not done their research. I think it's going to be tough for them, but they 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 can survive. I think they can
Mm,
survive this season. They play really good football. They've done really good business. They've always like they bought the best from abroad, young talent from abroad, and they've also done the other thing as well. And they've also bought the best from the leagues below them, and they've always
mm,
been good at that. With a lot of the signings that they've made, and bringing in even Ivan Tony after a Watkins, and those kind of transfers, they've done really well. So I think with their recruitment, they could do well. Obviously, they bought the Simon Carr, the Danish centre back. That's a
mm.
really good signing, and yeah, they could do well because I think, man, some of these Premier League teams that have been there for a while, I think some of them are in trouble this season. So a team like Brentford could take advantage of that.
Mm. Who do you reckon out of them teams? 'Cause I think Kieran mentioned it on the last episode about Newcastle. That, or it might have been you. I can't remember. One of you two mentioned that
I think
Newcastle
I
might.
think it was
This might
Kieran.
be the season that they get found out. Do you agree with that? Do you reckon if they keep Steve Bruce, because obviously they were lucky last season.
I think it depends on the signings that they make. I know they're trying to get this Willock deal over the line, but I think wages are a
I think
problem
it's
at the
just been
moment.
agreed now. They've got it in
Oh,
principle that they've agreed
okay,
it
cool.
literally like minutes, just literally like 10 minutes ago.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, that's a good signing for them because he done really well for them, and he obviously understands the system and the way that Steve Bruce wants to play. Um, I think Norwich would be in trouble.
Mm.
If they play the same way they did the last time, it's good to watch, but it's a bit too naive, and they may get found out. I think the same with Watford. I think they might go straight back down as well. We have to see what happens with them, and I think it could be Brighton. I
You
think it could
reckon?
be Brighton. Yeah, I think that could be Brighton or Southampton. To be honest, I think they would be the teams I'd look at and think they might go down. To
Mm.
be quite honest with you, because
Yeah, I'd
I
have
know
to.
Brighton play really good football and they're
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
really good to watch, create loads of chances, but they just don't put them away and they concede a lot of
Mm.
goals. So,
It's a good shout,
and
man.
Southampton are the same. They play good football, create loads of chances, aggressive in the press, but they just leave too many open spaces. And losing a Vestergaard, I don't know who they're going to replace him with. Like I said, if Armstrong hits the ground running, then they might be all right. But if he doesn't, I could see them struggling for goals, and it could be them.
Mm. Yeah, man. Do you know what? Now you mentioned about Brighton, because we spoke about them quite a bit, didn't we, on the last season? And I kind of agree with you because I feel like I don't know who they've recruited this season actually, if anyone. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, if they do play really good football, but like you said, the goals that they concede and the chances that they miss could come back to haunt them. And I think a lot
Mm.
of a lot of clubs this season, like all the top six, say have improved, haven't they? They've got the majority of them have improved their squads, so they're going to be out for the kill when they go to a team like Brighton or Southampton if
Mm.
they don't recruit like a replacement for Vestergaard. So yeah, I can kind of agree with that. I think Watford definitely. I think Watford will. They remind me of like a West Brom. Do you know what I mean? Like they just come up, collect the money, play
Yeah,
play two football, and then go back down to the Championship.
the last time they was here, obviously they stayed for quite a few seasons and they had really
Mm,
good recruitment. All the old Udinese players that came in that shouldn't have really been there. They had a lot of
mm.
Champions League players and all that. But yeah, they still got some good players. I know Sar's still there.
I think they've got
They got
Josh
some.
King as well again, haven't they, from Everton? I think they re-signed him.
Oh, okay. And then
I
they've
think,
got
yeah.
there's a Brazilian there, a striker. I think he's really good. I can't remember his name, but they've got some players, but I think they'll be down there struggling definitely. Um, as well as Newcastle, Brighton. You could throw Newcastle in there as well. I think it'll be the
Would that
same old.
would that be your bottom three? Or do you reckon you could give like a bottom three that you think might go down? Would it be the ones you just said then?
Yeah, Watford, Norwich, and it'd be
N-
maybe Southampton or Brighton.
Newcastle. Or, yeah, yeah. You don't think
Yeah,
Newcastle?
yeah, they'll be there or thereabouts around there. Yeah, definitely.
Mm.
I think
Yeah.
it's. I think we at the bottom. I think I said this before, man. But like anywhere from like 12th downwards, you'd be in
You
there.
it's on site for you, isn't it?
Yeah, because if you look at it like from the last couple of seasons, there's not really been a lot of points from say 12th or 13th down to the rest anyway.
Mm,
Like teams that finished 12th or 13th have been made safe with like 2 games to go or 3 games to go and
mm,
things like that. So it's not like there's not been a significant difference between mid-table and the bottom half teams.
mm.
So
Yeah,
we have to see.
that's true, man. That is true. What's your thoughts on Leeds? Because obviously Bielsa, brilliant manager.
Listen, I wish he was anyway. I wish he was. I wish he was
Listen, if
somewhere else. I
listen, if
wish he was
Ollie gets
somewhere
to
else.
chop, yeah, if Ollie gets to chop, I could honestly see Bielsa at United. I think it would work as well.
Listen, he'd make it work anywhere. He'd make it
Mm,
work anywhere. But no, I think Leeds are alright, man. They'll be fine. I think as long as he's there, they'll be fine.
yeah,
They've signed Firpo from Barcelona, which is going to be a really good signing for
brilliant,
them.
brilliant signing.
I think they've made the Jack Harrison deal permanent now. If I remember correctly, I think that's permanent now, and they haven't lost any players. I think that's the other key thing. Rafinha's still there.
Yeah, they've
Um,
retained a lot of the players, haven't they? So
Phillips is still there. You know, Bamford's still there. So the parts of their team that were their most important units are still there. So
mm,
and they've added to that. So I can only think of either they push on or they just solidify their position in mid-table.
yeah, no, I
But
hear that.
if they get another few through the door and they catch teams slipping here and there, they could be in that conversation a bit further up. But I'm looking forward to obviously. Apart from this weekend, obviously I wish them nothing but
Oh, if
a
you got
loss.
them
But
first
yeah, yeah. But apart from that,
at
yeah,
Ellen Road as
Bielsa's.
well.
No, I think we're at home.
Ah, you're the 12.
Yeah,
Are you the 12:30?
yeah. I think we're at
Yeah,
home.
yeah. I remember you
I'd have to.
saying that.
I'd have to check, but
Yeah,
I
you're at
think we're at
home.
home.
It's at Old Trafford. Yeah,
Yeah,
12:30.
but yeah, they're a good side and they're great to watch. Exciting games, entertaining, and they haven't lost. The key, I think, some teams their most important signings are just keeping their best players, and that's what they've
Yeah.
done. And they've added a couple to that, so it's going to be interesting for them.
Who would you say is going to be like the standout players across the Prem? Who you looking forward to watching?
Ooh. Um, Standout players.
I'll give you one of mine already, and again biased, but I'm looking forward to seeing Kai Havertz. Man, I think we're going to see the proper Havertz this season
Yeah.
because the way he's played in some of the preseason. I think the Spurs game he played some of that, and then he played last night obviously as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of him. Maybe more so than Werner, but Havertz definitely. I think with him linking up with Lukaku as well, it's gonna be a madness. Hopefully,
One I'm looking forward to seeing more of. I don't know if he's still injured. He missed a lot last season. I want to see more Tariq Lamptey at
yeah, yeah,
Brighton
yeah.
at right
Because he
back.
had a bad
I
injury,
think
didn't he? It was
yeah,
basically
bad
ruled
injury.
him out all season.
Yeah.
Mm,
So I don't know if he's back here, but it'd be really good to see him play and in full flow again because he was really good to watch. I want to see what, and I know I've kind of ruled them out already, but I want to see what Todd Cantwell can do as well now that Norwich are back.
yeah, yeah.
See
Good
if he
player,
can
man.
really, yeah. But I want to see if he can do it in the Prem because it'd be really interesting to see him have a good season and if he can step it up. Emil Smith Rowe, another one. Um, I was really impressed with him last season, man.
Mm,
I thought he came into the team and done really well. One of them players that don't really play as their age would suggest. And I think if he can kick on and even add a few more goals to his game and be even more of a threat than he was, I think it would be really exciting for him to watch him this season as well.
yeah, yeah, 100%. You're
God,
missing
there's
one, man.
loads.
There's one that I thought you was gonna bring up and you haven't yet.
Oh no, but I'll finish on Man United. I'll finish there.
No, no,
I'll
not
finish there.
United, not United,
No,
not United.
what team?
Villa.
Oh my god. Oh god.
Come on, man.
Oh my god. Yeah, sorry. And Leon Bailey, man.
Yeah, man.
Look, do you know what's mad? I can't believe I forgot that. But he's someone I've been looking forward to seeing in the Prem for a while. And
Mm.
he was linked with us before, and he was linked with Spurs at a different point, I think, and some other teams. But I'm excited, man, because he's a dangerous, direct player that can play on the right, he can play left. I think he's even played wing back for Leverkusen, so he's versatile. and I think he's dangerous, man. He's a threat, and I think he'll do well in this league, man. Especially when they're going to be on the counter attack a lot, aren't they? And
Yeah, yeah.
you know, linking up with Buendia, with Ings or Watkins, with Traore, I think there's going to be a lot of space for him to run into in certain matches, and it's going to be really exciting to watch him, man.
I'm looking
And
forward to watching Villa. Actually, to be fair,
yeah,
I don't think that a lot of people have when you speak to like some fans of other clubs, they think that because Grealish has gone, that they might suffer, they might be in trouble. I think the total opposite. I think that they've recruited really well. I think we said it on the last episode that they've recruited really well in terms of who they've brought in, and it gives them other options. Whereas they didn't really have that. Yes, Grealish is a good player, but they didn't have other options. Do you know what I mean? If he's injured, what's their plan B? Whereas now I feel like they've got that with the players that they've just brought in. So I'm looking forward to seeing Villa. It's interesting as well because I think John Terry's left, hasn't he? He left the
mm,
coaching role to take up other stuff. So it'd be interesting to see how much of an impact that has on them. But Dean
mm.
Smith's a brilliant coach anyway, a brilliant manager. So I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue for them.
I put them in that same bracket with what I said about Leeds. I think they had a really good season. They played really well, and I know I think a lot of us got not a lot of us, but some people get fixated on the Grealish effect and the effect that he had on that team. But I feel as though Watkins played well last season. Traore played well.
John
Douglas
McGinn,
Luiz and John McGinn. They were quality in midfield last season.
Martinez in goal.
Konsa, Martinez, Konza, Mings, Cash. All of these
Mm.
guys played well. So it weren't even last season. They wasn't a one man team. So
He was injured
I
for a while as well last
a
season.
significant chunk of it. Yeah, I
Mm.
still think they'll be fine. I think, to be quite honest with you, especially Brenda's a good signing. I think Leon Bailey's a good signing. The only factors with them two is you just hope they kind of take. I know Brenda's played in the Premier League already, but you hope that they settle in fast
Yeah, they got to
and
hit
they
the
can
ground running.
hit the ground running like
They've got
Watkins
to.
did last season. And I think
Yeah,
if
yeah,
they do, I think they'll be fine
yeah. They
because
got to.
Buendia more or less replaces um, Barkley more or less, and you could say Bailey more or less replaces Grealish, not position like for like, but
Yeah, I know what you
in
mean.
terms of threat. Whereas everything was coming from their left last season, a
Mm,
lot of it I think will come from the right this season. So I think they're going to be exciting to watch, man.
It'll
Especially
be
if those
interesting.
players hit the ground running, and
Yeah,
Ings
yeah.
as well.
I was
You could even
just
say
literally
about
just about to
Ings.
say with Ings as well. They've got that option if they want to play one up front, if they want the two up front
Yeah,
with Watkins and Ings as well. So they
because also I remember reading an article about it was an interview with Watkins, and he was saying that like his his natural position is a number 10.
right,
So
right
they've even got that option where maybe him in the 10, Ings, Buendia
in
and
the
Bailey on
nine.
the flanks. Yeah,
Mm,
so they've got options, man, and they're going to be good to watch.
no, I'm looking forward to them. I'm looking forward to
And they
them.
got
But
Twanzebe again on loan as
yeah,
well.
yeah, they did, didn't they? I forgot about that. That's a because he's been there. Hasn't he been there before?
It's been there
And
twice
another,
before. This is
they got
third time
Ashley
there.
Young as well. Forgot about that. They got Ashley Young there as well.
Yes, there you go.
So
Yeah, so they've done well as well. They've recruited well, and most importantly, they recruited a lot of those players before Grealish left.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I reckon some of their transfers would have been more expensive had
100.
they done it after. But I
Mm.
think, as we said on the last episode, they done it the right way around.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, man, 100%. One team, or I suppose manager that I'm looking forward to seeing is Nuno. I think if he
Mm.
can get Spurs playing well, and if they retain Harry Kane, well, in fact, no, even if they don't retain Harry Kane, because if they don't keep him, they're going out to buy someone, and whether that's Martinez from Inter or someone else, I think he's got the right tools to do a good job at Spurs.
Yeah, 100%. And if they if Kane goes this window, they'll replace him with another striker, and
Mm,
I think they'll be fine because the
mm,
way that they play, Son's either going to play. It's either going to be a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2. So Son's either going to be on the wing or he's going to be up front with someone else.
mm.
So they'll still score a lot of goals. And I saw a goal actually they scored. Yeah, I think it was yesterday or might have been a friendly, and it was like they played out from the back, loads of
Sure, it wasn't
passes, and it
against
ended.
us.
Was that against you in a friendly?
We played him on last Wednesday, I think. Yeah.
I don't know if it was you. Was you wearing a black kit in that
Nah,
game?
nah, nah. I wish we
No, it
were.
was.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't you guys, but it was a really well worked goal from back to front. Like passed it
Right.
out from the back, moved it side to side, and it was really intricate. It was good to watch actually that goal. And nah, I think they'll be like I said around where Leicester is, maybe just outside the top four, or pushing for it. Um, it's not all doom and like I know a lot of their fans are doom and gloom because Kane might leave, but it's just it's football. It's one
Just got to
man,
kick on with it, man.
and you got to kick on. And I think they got a lot of players that suit the way Nuno wants to play anyway.
Mm,
They got options in midfield. They've got front men already, wingers that can play as forwards. They need a centre back, and they got Romero in, maybe another wing
brilliant
back.
signing.
Yeah, they
Mm,
still got Rigel on there, who had a good season. They don't need a lot. So all the doom and gloom is like based on them trying to win a trophy or win the league. They don't want to do anything like that. But they can have a better season than last year, definitely.
Be interesting to see how Dele Alli plays this season as well, because we saw like little glimpses of like what we know he can do. The game that sticks out for me, I know it was only FA Cup, but the Marine game when they played Marine, and I think he got subbed off, but he was obviously star of the show. But there's glimpses of it, like how he can play, and I think under Nuno, I think we might see that old Dele Alli that was there when Poch was there as well coming back.
Yeah, and look, I've always been a massive fan of Ali because I genuinely believe how he played in the first couple seasons.
Mm,
I really thought he was going to kick on and be like a world star. Like honestly, I didn't even see this trajectory that he's been on. I didn't even see it happening. But I just think he's someone that just needs to hit the ground running. Listen to the manager. If the manager wants him to play a certain position or play in a certain way, he's just got to listen and apply himself. I think that's where he lets himself down. Really, is his application.
mm,
It's not ability. We know he's got loads of ability. He can run with the ball. He's quick. He can score a goal. He's great at arriving late into the box. And he's got loads of goals in him. I think his issue is just application. It's about the other side of the game. It's about pressing, working hard for the team, tucking in, being disciplined. You've got to do that stuff, regardless of what position you play in, whether you're a 10, whether you're on the wing, whether you're even up front. Managers put way more pressure on those players because
mm,
they're the players that are more than likely to let you down in the defensive phase of a game. So
mm.
managers always are going to put more pressure on those players. They don't put that same pressure on defenders because defenders defend.
It's their job,
Wing
innit?
backs, wing backs and fullbacks know what they need to do in them situations.
Mm,
It's always the wingers, the attackers that might let you down in that situation, or your midfielders. So I think that's the thing with Delhi. I think he's just got to listen, apply himself, and he should be hungry and determined after the season that he had. And
mm.
the
You'd
ability
like
is
to think
there.
so.
The
Yeah,
ability
you'd
is
like to
there,
think
man.
so, innit?
Yeah, the ability is there. If he can just apply himself to the level of his ability, he'll have a great season.
Mm, yeah, I'd like to think so. And obviously, like I mentioned before, Joe Willock as well. I think it makes sense for him to go there. And obviously, are still trying to get the Odegaard. They're trying to get him
Mm,
back in as well. I think on
yeah,
a permanent now as well. But I think for
yeah,
Joe Willock, that definitely makes sense because we've seen what he can do at Newcastle. He enjoyed his time there. He was scoring goals. He's probably the reason they actually stayed up. To be fair.
yeah. On the Odegaard one first, I know that Ancelotti doesn't really fancy him because even from the first time he was there, they kind of signed him. The board signed him. Ancelotti
Yeah,
didn't want
yeah,
him,
yeah.
so I could see that one. Now that Ancelotti's gone back there, and his loan was, I'd say, it was successful last season. I thought he'd done really well at Arsenal.
Mm,
And they still need that position sorted. I think that's a good signing for Arsenal, and I think he's already been there. He knows the manager. He's already played with the squad. It's not really a new. It will be a signing, but it's not a new signing because he's already played with everyone.
yeah,
So that'd be a brilliant signing for Arsenal. And I think Willock is good business. And that's like I said on the last podcast, man. There's no point stockpiling players, and it doesn't suit the club as a business, and it doesn't suit the player for his career. So if you're not going to play, yes, it's Arsenal and they're a bigger team than Newcastle, but just drop down, get your minutes, get your form and play. Anything can
that's what it
happen
should
in
be
your
about,
career.
man. As a professional, that's
Yeah,
what you should be wanting to do anyway. Just kick
yeah,
ball, play
yeah,
football rather than sitting on a bench and
yeah.
collecting a
Because
wage. You want to kick ball.
if you look at there's loads of these kind of players. If you looked at even what Lukaku's done in his whole career, he's done that.
Mm,
It's like he's not just sat somewhere waited. It's like, all right, Chelsea ain't playing me. I'll go West Brom, bag
mm,
20. He's gone Everton, done the same thing. Gone United, done the same thing.
mm,
Into the same thing. You just got to back yourself, trust yourself, and anything can happen if you make the right moves for yourself. Like
mm.
someone like Willock dropping down to a Newcastle. I'm saying dropping down because it's just a fact.
Yeah,
Not
yeah, of
on,
course it's yeah,
not taking a piss, Newcastle fans, if anyone listens, but just going down there, playing week in, week out. If he has the same season he had last season and he does that for 2 or 3 seasons, he'll be back at a
mm.
top club anyway. So
And he's still relatively young, so he's got plenty of
yeah,
football years ahead of him to
yeah,
make that step back up to a top English or European team somewhere as well,
yeah.
which
So
I can
I
see
think it's a good.
happening.
Yeah, you never know in football. If you make them kind of moves just for yourself, just to get minutes and play and get form and be consistent, anything can happen in your career. There's so many guys that have been sold by a top club, gone to a mid-table or a lower club, and come back to another top club.
Mm.
It
Yeah, yeah.
happens. There's loads of those examples. Football's littered with them.
Mm.
So I think Willock's made the right decision going there. He enjoyed it last season, and yeah, it's a good move for both. Arsenal 25 million for him is good business, and I think it works out for everyone involved.
Mm. Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. Who do you reckon is early contenders from just looking at their preseason back of last season? Who do you think is potentially looking at top goal scorer for this season? Would you say Kane, regardless of where he stays? Are you throwing Lukaku in there as well?
It's an interesting one. It's a good one. I think Lukaku would be up there if he hits the ground. Well, if he will hit the ground running, so
Yeah,
he will
yeah.
be there or thereabouts. He always
You
is
say that
when
though.
he
You
has.
say that, but he might not. He might not. But we hope that he does. I
Yeah,
do anyway.
there's always a case of might not, but I'm not talking about aesthetics or his touch or anything like that. The way he plays is
He
lending
should
to
be
the Premier
tucking.
League.
Yeah, he should be scoring.
Um, his physicality, his hold up play has improved. In behind, he's devastating. He's fit again, a lot fitter than his last season at United, and he just scores goals. That's it. That's the
Mm.
main thing. Like, so he'll be there or thereabouts. So Salah, Salah is a machine
Yeah,
in front
yeah,
of goal. Um,
yeah.
Salah's going to score goals. He takes all the penalties as well, so he'll be there or thereabouts. Um, and yeah, Kane. As long as I don't know about. There's loads of rumors, like we said in the last episode, with has he actually gone on strike or not, or he wasn't meant to be back, or whatever the
Hey.
issue was.
Mm.
As long as he just keeps fit until this move happens and he plays for Spurs, then yeah, he'll be in the Golden Boot talk 100%
Mm.
because
See.
they play at Spurs. They play. It's all about him.
Mm.
They play for him, innit? The team is basically built to serve him to score goals.
Yeah, yeah.
So
True, man.
and he's an elite finisher, isn't he? So in these situations like a Premier League. So yeah, he'll be up there. But anyone new about up from that?
I'm gonna throw Danny Ings in there if he stays
I,
injury free.
that's what I was gonna say though, and I think
Yeah, yeah.
that's the it's the
It's
if.
a it's a massive if, isn't it? Because he's
Yeah,
not known to be. He doesn't have a full season without picking up one or two injuries, and they're big
yeah,
injuries as well. They keep him sidelined for a couple of weeks, a month, 2 months. So if he can try and stay fit as possible, I think we'll get to see. Because he scored, I can't remember how many he scored last season for Southampton, but he had a good number of goals for Southampton last season.
yeah. Bamford, Ings,
Yeah,
and Calvert
yeah, it's a
Lewin. They
good
scored a
shout.
decent amount of goals, but they will get around the 15 mark or 16, 17. But I think the golden boot is 2020 plus,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I feel as though that's Kane, Lukaku, Salah. Um, I think it's between them three. To be quite honest with you,
Mm.
I would have chucked. Not even biased. I could have chucked.
You could put. Well, I was going to say Fernandez, but I know will you not put Fernandez in there
Oh,
now?
he was around the golden boot last season,
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's what I mean. So I was going to chuck him
pretty
in, but
much, yeah. And I think Rashford would have had a good chance if he wasn't injured at the golden boot.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Definitely on the left, he was devastating for us last season, even though he was injured for pretty much most of it. In hindsight, when you look at the injuries that he carried, for him to still hit 20 plus goals, I think was amazing in all competitions, obviously. But Yeah, Lukaku, Salah, and Kane for the Golden Boot. That'd be mine.
Mm.
Outside chance for Sadio Mane and I don't know how much football's gonna play, but yeah, that would be mine. I was gonna say
Who's
Cavani, but I don't know how much football he's gonna play.
Yeah,
So
no, that's a shout, man. That's a shout. I think if he gets the games, which is again a big if, but
he's still on
even when
holiday.
is what?
I don't know if he's back this weekend, but he
Uh,
hasn't he's still on holiday because he was
right, right.
homesick apparently. But it's not. I think it's all been agreed. There's no fallout from it, so I think Ollie just gave him extended leave. But
Yeah, yeah.
it'd be
That
good
makes
for
sense.
him to. Um, he's a killer in it in front of goal, so
That's what I mean. Like you
he's
can't
always
rule
gonna.
him out.
No, he's a killer in front of goal, and I see him as the outside chance of that too.
Because when he plays, you know you're gonna get something out of him. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
100%.
I think the reason that the contract was extended is for that reason because you know
Yeah,
you know what you get with him. So I think
on the shoulder,
yeah, like,
his movement and like his hunger is just second to none, man. And I think
yeah,
he's one that I think I said it before, man. If like there was always, there's always that silly talk about players playing in other leagues. Oh, that's a farmers league, or he's
mm,
only done it in that league. He was always going to do it once he comes to the Prem, and he
yeah.
did.
Because
So
he's naturally gifted like that. You could
yeah,
certain players. It doesn't matter what league they play in, whether they play in conference or prem or whatever. Whatever league you put them in, any team you put them in, they're just proven goal scorers or they're the quality of the player that they can just go into any team.
mm,
And he's one of
yeah,
them kind of players.
hundred
So
percent.
he does, to me, it doesn't matter where he plays. There are some players, let's have it right, that when they go to the big league, they can't hack it. There is other players
Mm,
like that, but
definitely.
people like Cavani and that they're elite players. They've played for the
Mm,
top clubs across Europe.
yeah. And and we've had them kind of players that came and couldn't do it, like a Falcao, players like that. They just couldn't do it here. But yeah, I think we've got that covered really. Um, your Bamfords and your Calvert Lewins, they'll be there or thereabouts. I think, especially
Mm.
Calvert Lewin. But yeah, I think that's it for the Golden Boot for me personally.
Yeah, man. So just to recap before we finish. So who you saying for the league?
I think it's going to be a freeway between Chelsea, Liverpool, and
You're
City.
not going
I
for
think.
one, no. If you
Um,
had to pick one, you had to pick one team.
I think we're getting a title race this year.
You
Honestly,
reckon?
yeah, I think we're going to get a title race this season. I think Liverpool are refreshed. And I know people keep talking about who they haven't signed, but like
Yeah, they got like Gomez and
Trent,
Van
Trent,
Dijk are like new players. Trent's a new player for them.
Trent's recovered from injuries.
Mm.
Gomez is back. Van Dijk's had a whole preseason.
Henderson.
Henderson's back. A
Mm.
lot of these guys have had the summer off pretty much through injury or through whatever other reasons. They're all refreshed. I still think they've got Thiago now, who's got a season under his belt, understands everything. He's going to hit the ground running.
Mm.
I think they're going to do well this season, to be quite honest with you. Um, and yourself, Chelsea would do well, and City will be there or thereabouts. I think it'll be a three-way title race, maybe till about Christmas, January, and then depending on form and other competitions, one of them might fall
When
out. But
Mendy's gone, when Mendy's in African
but
Cup.
Salah and Mane will be there too. So
Yeah, that's a good
um,
point. That's a good point. Well,
Salah and Mane will
that
be
proves
there
my
too.
point even more than about Liverpool. They need to consider that.
I think they will though, and I think they will get someone in. I think they're just waiting.
Yeah, like you said, and
I,
yeah,
yeah, I think they'll sign someone in the next couple of weeks to play along the front line, and they
yeah,
just need to get a few people out the door first, off the wage bill. Then they
mm,
can go and get like new players, and I think they will
mm,
do that. But I think it's between them, and City and yourselves. I think that was where the title will come from. I know
mm.
that's kind of sitting on the fence, or it sounds
No,
like
it's
it,
not.
but
I agree with you. I think there's definitely gonna be a title race to an extent. Whether it's gonna be a close one or it's gonna be like 6 or 9 points or whatever in it, but there's gonna be a title race because you can kind of see that the teams that want to try and win it have actually tried to improve their squads.
yeah,
And I do think that City will be okay without a Sergio Aguero, but they will miss
hundred
Sergio
percent.
Aguero if that makes sense. They will miss him, but I think they'll be fine without him. So
Yeah,
It's gonna be tough, man.
like I said, I've said this before, man. I don't really like. I know everyone thinks it's a big thing, but I think even adding Grealish to their front line, along with what they've already got, they're going to score a lot of goals anyway because the amount of
Mm,
chances that they create. So even if there's a striker there or not, they're still
mm.
going to be there or thereabouts. Um, they've won the league this season. Liverpool won it the year before. No one's had a striker, you know. So it's not the be all and end all anymore. It's not like the '90s or the
If you can get
2000s or anything
if
like
you
that.
get your midfield, and the thing with their midfielders is they,
They score
because
goals.
they chip in, all of them chip in. It's not like they're relying on like a Kevin De Bruyne, or they're relying on Raheem or someone like that. All of them, Mahrez when he plays, he scores. Gundogan when I think he didn't, and Foden, like they all score. Do you know what I
Gundogan,
mean?
Gundogan was there. I think he was the top goal scorer.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, but I couldn't remember. I couldn't
Yeah,
remember if it was him, but
I think he scored. He scored like 17 or 18. De Bruyne has
yeah,
chipped in with like 8 or 9.
obviously Sterling when he played,
Sterling,
Mahrez.
Mahrez, they all scored goals
Even their defenders, I think obviously
yeah,
Stones gets the odd couple of goals here and there. They get goals from all everywhere
everywhere.
across the pitch, and I think that's
Yeah,
the only difference with like a Chelsea when we didn't have that. That's why we've had to bring in a Lukaku to help build
yeah,
it up and get the
yeah,
midfielders scoring goals as well as Lukaku. United
yeah,
are normally calm in that position as well. So I think we said it before, but you had how many goals you scored? 60 odd goals last season, something like that.
yeah. More than that, I think.
Yeah, so or 80, I can't remember.
Rashford hit 20 plus. Bruno was our top goal scorer. Mason Greenwood scored enough goals in the end. So did Cavani.
Yeah,
Um,
so he's,
yeah, we scored. Scoring wasn't our problem. Do you know what I mean?
it was the other end, isn't
So
it?
this is the other end. So, but yeah, if you're a Liverpool, like their front line scores all their goals, don't they? Pretty much
Mm.
Salah, Mane chips in with a few. But City scores their goals all around the team. So I don't really think the striker thing. Obviously, it will help if they get a Kane, but I think they'll be there or thereabouts without Kane anyway.
If they get Kane, they've won the league. No, they will.
Even
I think they
I
will.
know a lot. I know a lot of people say that, man. But I still think it's still a title. It's still we're gonna have a title race either
Yeah,
way.
we'll get one, but I
And
think they'll win the league though. For me, I think they'll win it.
I think it's going to be open this season, man. And I don't. He will definitely add goals to them, but I think it's going to be interesting if he goes. Like I said in the last episode, I think obviously he'll do well, but I don't think it's going to be as plain sailing as like everyone thinks it's going to be when if he
Mm,
does go there. But no, I think this is a wide open title race this time, and I
mm.
think it's between them three teams.
Yeah, and to be
And then
fair,
depending on how United start the season as well, could be in there too. So
yeah, to be fair, I can't wait for the window to shut now. I'm sick of hearing all these like Harry Kane stories and all of that, and maybe because I feel like we've got our business done. I don't think we really need, unless we get obviously Kunde as well. But I just want the window shut now because I think for me personally, the window should shut before tomorrow. Really, I know why it
yeah,
hasn't and all that, but
yeah, they had to change that.
ideally, yeah, ideally, you'd want it to shut today, tonight, wouldn't you? So then tomorrow, that's your squad and you can just kick on with the season now. But I understand why they've done it and changed it and all that, but it drags out and that can affect, for instance, like for Spurs, if that doesn't get resolved until the end of August, that's 2 weeks into the season already. Do you know what I mean? That's two games.
Yeah, and I think the problem that it causes is someone like a manager, especially a new manager, won't have the same sort of like patience with players that an old manager would. So I
Mm.
don't know if Nuno is going to play Kane or if he's going to class him as someone that's distracted and just not have him in the team.
I don't think
Because I
he's
remember
playing on Sunday anyway.
I think when we had David De Gea in that same situation, Van Gaal just didn't play him until the
Yeah,
window shut.
he didn't. That was it. I
Just didn't
remember.
play him. He didn't play him. He wasn't even in the squad until the transfer window was shut. Then he
Mm.
came back into the team. So we'll have to see what happens in that situation. But I agree with you. I think the window should close before the season starts. But the reason why I guess they've changed, gone back to that, is because we were closing before the season started, but all the seasons around Europe start at different times.
Yeah, yeah.
So ours is closing, but then people are still trying to take our players.
Mm. Then you
So
can't
and
buy.
then clubs can't buy. So I
Mm.
guess that's why I had to go back. But I prefer it closing before, knowing you've got your squad. This is your team, and you can just hit the ground running.
Yeah, no,
But
I agree, man.
yeah, I think that's going to be the title race, really. Them three teams.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. And the bottom three I agree with as well. Top goal scorers, I agree with that. Hopefully it's Lukaku, but we have to see. But yeah, listen, guys, you can follow us on the PTTW podcast on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube as well. We've got the YouTube. We're going to be pushing all the videos out this season as well. So like, subscribe, follow us on Twitter, interact with us. Tell us that we're wrong. Tell us that you think Brentford are going to win the league. United and Chelsea are getting relegated. Talk to us, man. Let us know. But this has been episode, I'm going to say 54, maybe 55. I'm going to say 55. 55. So I can cut all the other stuff out. It's 55. But thanks for listening. Play to the whistle, all of that. Like, subscribe, comment, all of that.